Houston. Houston, we have a problem. DJ Apollo has landed. I repeat, DJ Apollo has landed at Hipmix 88.9 WEIU.
Welcome to the Tales of Music and Film podcast. I am DJ Apollo, and today we are continuing the Scary Movie Month. And today I got my friend
Aiden.
He's back on the show yet again, and today we are talking about a true horror movie masterpiece, I would say. And we are covering the 1982 John Carpenter film, The Thing. And the movie is 40 years old this year, so I can't imagine a better time to talk about this. And
better time to talk about it would be at the 50-year anniversary, so we got to wait 10 years. Sorry, we're going to cancel this episode right now.
Yeah, wait 10 more years. When we're in our early 30s, we'll come back and do the half-century anniversary. But fun fact, when me and my buddy Aiden moved back to Eastern, literally the first weekend back here at school, the very first movie we watched to kickstart the semester was The Thing.
Oh, God, that was such a good idea as we're just watching it, just having a good old time, and just like, yep, this is the right way to kick off the semester.
Oh, yeah, it was the perfect movie to watch, and every time I've watched this classic, it feels like I'm watching it for the very first time. The effects in this thing, the story, especially the main dude, McCready, is just like, I think I would make the argument that McCready is like one of the coolest, if not one of the best main male leads ever.
Well, it depends on, for me, just like what you categorize it as, because I don't know if he holds up as like the best male lead in all of cinema. But, like, in horror movies, I would have to say yes.
Like, I'm telling you right now, if like sometimes on Facebook, right, I see these posts where, like, they have, like, the whole year. You have January through December, and each month there's a character on it or something. And another thing that I see a lot is that you have a list of horror movie characters, and the things like, you're only allowed to pick one. Who would it be? For me, it would be McCready. Because, like, the dude is all about shoot first, ask questions later. If I was
you're fighting a shape-shifting thing like The Thing, yeah, that's a good mentality to have. Because it's like, oh, you may be it, you may not. I just know I'm not it, so die. Boom!
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So this movie is under the cult classic category because, surprisingly, this movie bombed when it was released. Now, unfortunately, the year that it was released, there were other films that really overshadowed it, and particularly, apparently E.T. was part of the reason this movie did not do so well.
Well, like, when you're trying to compete with E.T., like, there is no way in the name of God you're going to outclass that.
Yeah, it came out on June 11th, 1982, and it was, funny enough, directed by Steven Spielberg, and, you see, the reason why this movie didn't do so well is because I feel like everybody was assuming that, like, you know, the main characters are supposed to win at the end, and the aliens are supposed to be cuddly and nice. They're not supposed to be, you know, like, violent and deadly.
Like, it's kind of meant to just think, like, it's kind of like, just think to go with E.T., since we were talking about it. E.T. is a benevolent visitor. He's not out to harm humans, not out to do anything. It's kind of like almost like human instinct to think like those who can travel through space are much more calmer and kinder than we are. But in this one, nope, this alien is out to just kill, and kill.
Yeah, and there were other horror movies this year that came out that year that were up there with The Thing. Like you have Creepshow and Poltergeist.
Oh, Poltergeist!
So this movie did have a lot of competition going for it.
Oh, that's without a doubt. This wanted competition.
Yeah, and John Carpenter actually had a film deal with Universal, but due to the fact this movie did so poorly, he lost the contract.
Here's the thing, like, I know it would have been that he got a sequel, but I personally think it only having one installment makes this actually a bit more special. As, like, for me, it's one of those horror films that I honestly say is like lightning in a bottle.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is like it's like Jaws. Like you just can't capture that again.
Yeah, like every single sequel to Jaws was just worse and worse, and then it finally ended with Jaws: The Revenge. And if anyone has seen that, I pray for your soul. And if anyone wants to see it, I am gonna humbly say, don't.
Yeah, don't do it. And what I meant was, apparently he had a contract with Universal to do a series of movies. I don't think they were connected.
Yeah, so just more movies with the thing like him just making more films for Universal.
Yeah, it was a contract. He got to direct this many movies due to how badly the thing did. He lost the contract and he had to go. He had to go find work somewhere else. I don't know if any of the movies that he signed up for were sequels or not, but I know he had a contract with Universal, but he lost it.
Yeah.
And right after, so the following year after this came out, he would go on to direct Christine, which is a fantastic movie. But I recommend you go check that out because he really went back to his horror roots with that one. And this movie, it wasn't like I said, was not a huge success, and people did not like it very much. And if I remember correctly, this movie did not get very popular until I would say the late '90s or maybe even the early 2000s. I think is when people started to realize what a masterpiece it really is. I mean, it's sad it took him that long to realize. Unfortunately, there are so many movies out there where it took people a long time to appreciate.
I think it's also with the timing because, like you said, this film came out alongside a bunch of other heavy hitters.
Oh yeah,
and it got just left in the dirt as other movies their star rose much higher, and then it got forgotten. Then after some time, people came back and they rewatched it and they realized, oh my God, this is amazing horror film.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the reason why it's such a success is just due to the directing and particularly the cast in this. All of our main characters in this are some of the best characters I've ever seen in scary movies.
Yep. Before we go on with cast, I just want to tell you something I found out when we were talking about John Carpenter. Evidently, he has said that he has a desire to make a Dead Space live action film.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about that for the last year.
And I'm just honestly, I would take John Carpenter making a film of Dead Space over the remake of the game we're getting. Am I still going to likely buy the remake? Yes, because it looks amazing, and Dead Space is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I played all three of them too.
Yep. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, honestly, out of three, number two. Number two is my favorite.
I will always say number one. 2 is actually my least favorite.
Really?
Mainly just because, sorry, audience, we're going to have to we'll make this short.
Yeah, slight little detour, but continue.
It's just the gameplay. It felt like it was the starting to lean into its more actiony route it went in Dead Space 3, but it still had the mechanics of Dead Space 1 and it didn't mesh really well. I always think my main example is on the mission where you go into the Ishimura again, and when you're in the hallway you fight 2 berserkers, those big guys, back to back, and I was just I struggled just because I had plenty of materials, but I was playing on the hardest difficulty, and then I lost all of them in that fight, and I was okay, I can make do with what little materials I have left, and then I just realized there's another berserker. I'm just no way I can fight that.
Yeah, I get that. Dude, those games, there's some boss fights on there, even on regular difficulty, was a real kick in the butt to get through. But I'm telling you right now, dude, John Carpenter directing a Dead Space movie, take my money now.
Yeah, I'll just I was shut up, take my money.
Yeah, take my money. So we're gonna get into the main story and the characters. So just to give you a little brief description, in the remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks them. It attacks both human beings and destroys the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of any of its victims by absorbing them. A resourceful helicopter pilot, played by Kirk Russell, whose character's name is McCready, and the camp doctor, played by Richard, I need some help with this, Dysart, Richard Dysart?
Yeah, Dysart, I believe.
Yeah. led the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before he picks them all off one by one. And I love that concept. Like, you got 12 people who are literally like on their own.
Yeah,
they
dude,
can't find any help. They're in the middle of literally nowhere in this
the
one
classic
base.
joke is just this was Among Us before Among Us was a thing.
Yeah, literally. It's like the Among Us video game. It had to have taken inspiration.
Oh, without a doubt, as it's just like you're trapped in a location, you're trying to fix it so you can go home. And like for this, they don't have radio communications because of the blizzard that's out and about. So they can't leave. They're trapped, and there's a monster out to kill them. And it's like, same thing with Among Us. You're trapped in a location with someone out trying to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And the introduction to this movie I thought was amazing. You got these two Norwegian guys in a helicopter shooting at a sled dog.
And you're just like...
while it's running across the landscape.
Like, it's just like, you don't know. I'm just like, are these Norwegians just hunting this dog for sport?
Yeah, there's got to be a reason, right? It's so funny to me. I've watched so many reaction videos of people watching the thing for the first time.
And they're just like, why are they shooting the puppy?
Almost all of them, dude. They all say the same old thing. You're like, wait till you see what that is. It's not a dog.
But it's a genius thing to make it a dog and not a person. Because with a dog, like, it's just kind of like it's human... beings like desire to like love dogs and even cats and whatnot, is that like they'll instantly let their guard down around a well-behaved dog.
Yeah, 100%.
But like a human getting shot at, like you'll take them in, but you'll keep your guard up because they're just like, why are they shooting at a human being? When it's just like you think, how can you shoot at a dog?
Yeah, literally. And
so no, that was a great idea as to how to instantly let your guard down around the dog.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, dog's safe. There's no way the dog would be the monster.
Unless
right?
it was a pit bull.
Unless it was a pit bull. And then we get introduced to the base, and we see some of the characters hanging around the bar area. And then we get introduced to our main character, McCready.
Oh, McCready.
Dude, the opening...
here's one thing that'll say that makes McCready a cut above the rest. That glorious beard Kurt Russell was rocking.
I know. This whole movie with that long hair and he inspired me over last summer to grow a beard.
Yeah, and then it turned out you looked like you were trying to be Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Yeah, but I grew my hair and beard out over the summer because I was wanting to see if I could do it. Surprisingly, I got it. I pulled it off pretty well.
Honestly, it was pretty close, but I'm just like... You just know my first reaction when I see you walk into our room.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, were you a castaway for the summer?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I crashed on an island and all summer I was by myself. No razor.
Yeah. Oh, did you take Tom Hanks' method when they were filming that to not bathe for the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just gotta have prayed for his wife during that whole thing. Just like she probably was just like, nope, you're not sleeping in this bedroom until you bathe. You're going out. You're going into either the guest room or going on that couch.
Yeah, talk about method acting, but. But yeah, when we see McCready for the very first time, I love the introduction. He's sitting in his room. That's not even connected to the main base. It's separated from everybody else. Right off the gate, we learn that he's a big loner, and that he's playing the old chess game on the old 80s computer, and he's drinking booze. And
he's living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream, 100%. And then we cut back to when the Norwegians reached the camp in the helicopter, and they land it, and then the guy starts throwing hand grenades, and he accidentally throws one in the snow on accident, like he drops it. And the other guy tries to get it, but it blows him up, so now we're down to one.
Okay, here's the thing. I just want to talk about that guy going for the grenade. I'm just like... What are you trying to do? Like, when the lever releases on a hand grenade, you have got 5 seconds to make your piece or get that thing out of range. Mm-hmm. And he's just trying to fumble for it. And I'm just like, what he should have done is just run and prayed at that point. Because a good person could probably do run 15 meters in 5 seconds if you're scared enough. But trying to fumble to go for that grenade, he was just asking to get blown up. Yeah,
literally. So him in the helicopter to get blown up, then the last Norwegian hits one of the other crew members in the base, and he starts shooting at the dog more, and then the main officer, like the guy in charge, managed to shoot him and kill him before.
And then because no one spoke Norwegian, because it's like the film was smart to not put subtitles so we wouldn't know what he was saying, but there are people who know Norwegian who translated, and they actually were correct in saying the fact that he was saying that the dog is not human.
Yeah, because like literally, he gives away the entire plot of the movie if it was subbed.
Or
so.
like. No, like, because I believe they completely cut out any subbing of that. Like, they did not put any subtitles to that segment. They'll just, like, if you watch it in English and with English subtitles, he'll just say, man speaks in Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
They made effort that the only way you would actually know what he is saying is if you also spoke Norwegian.
Gotcha. And I think that was the right smart move.
Oh, yeah.
Because like they wanted to keep it a secret. You don't want to give it away.
Exactly.
You know,
Like you only know by being intelligent and knowing something that the cast would know, how to speak Norwegian.
Mm-hmm. And so they take the dog in, not knowing what it is, and then here comes one of my favorite scenes where they discover where the Norwegian base is.
Yep.
So McCready takes him and one of the doctors to go check out the base.
It's main doctor. What was the doctor's name in the film? The final enemy, Dr. Cooper.
Yeah, him and Cooper go check the base out, and I love this little thing they did. So I actually found out the scenes where they go visit the destroyed Norwegian base is actually. It's actually the main base, but they shot those scenes after they blew it up
and from different angles.
They shot it from different angles,
and that is just intelligent filmmaking. It's just like, because a good thing with films is like, if you ever go into filmmaking, go in with the mindset you are not going to shoot in chronological order. That is a rare thing that happens in filmmaking, because you'll shoot it with what makes sense. And with this, it made sense. She's like, you know what? Instead of making two sets, one destroyed and one not, we're going to be blowing up the base at the end of this film. So instead, we will shoot everything at the main base first, then do the segment where we blow the base up, then we'll film the Norwegian segments in the same base. I'm just like, it's smart, and it's how you save money.
Yeah, and that was the very smart move to make. And they're checking the base out, dude. The music for this.
Oh, like this film is a mastered ambience. Like, it's not like so over the top music like you'd see in like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a very subtle undertone that it just kind of like, it makes you very uncomfortable. Are you looking up who scored this?
Yeah, I'm curious to see who scored this.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, the music for this is so terrifying to me due to the fact it's so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits. It was. Let's see. It was. Okay, I'm gonna need your help with this one, Aiden.
Let me see it.
It's in the search bar right there.
Search bar. Who scored? Ennio Morricone? Morricone?
I'm not sure, but
yeah, I'm sorry, viewers or listeners, we cannot pronounce this.
Yeah, but his music for this was like John Williams' music in Jaws, where it's like you can't imagine this movie without that amazing soundtrack.
Like, that is just the mark of a good score. Like, I definitely say, like, our production teacher, Drew, he says, like, you don't want to rely too heavily on score, because, like, if you rely too heavily, then it kind of shows a little less quality in your film, because a good filmmaker can make a film work without score. Mm-hmm. But a score is still very necessary, and this is an example where it's just like the film can still work without the score, but it's just something will feel missing.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And so McCready and the doctor are searching the base, and you get the idea, like, something very catastrophic happened here.
Like,
and then,
but it's just like you can't figure it out because on your first time viewing, you don't know what the thing is. So you're just like, did they go insane? Did they just blow this place up? What happened? Were they attacked?
It's just one big mystery.
Like, there is absolutely nothing. Then it's when they find the frozen coffin and whatnot in the snow outside. That's when they finally figure something out.
That they found something. Something was inside that block of ice. Like, what did they thaw out of here? What was it?
And like, you don't know, like, especially like the best way to have viewed this film is to go in completely blind. You don't watch a trailer, you don't watch anything. So then, like, you won't suspect, wait, was it an alien? What was it? Was it just an ancient creature? Because even then, like, we still don't get answers. Like, we don't know what the thing is.
Yeah.
All we know is it's an organism that consumes things and can take on their form.
Yeah, and it can adapt to any form of life. It just copies them.
Yep.
And that's when they find, and then once they're walking out of the base, they're trying to figure out like what happened. That's when they find a pile of burned remains, and they end up bringing some of it back to the base to look at. And when the doctor is doing an autopsy on it, it seems like a normal person.
Yep, but then it gets a little deeper and realize, oh my god, this ain't normal. This ain't human.
Yeah, this ain't human at all. So then we cut to everybody's hanging out at the bar, right, thinking everything's over. But then the dog gets locked in the kennel with the other dogs, and now the human eyes are off of it.
And now, like, it's just like, oh no, this dog ain't real. No, we're gonna kill the rest of the sled dogs. We're killing the good doggos.
Yeah, like, dude, the transformation scenes.
Oh god,
like,
the first time I watched this film, like, I genuinely had to look away. And, like, the first time I watched this was before I started watching just very disturbing films. I developed my callus to this stuff.
Right.
But so when I first watched this, I was genuinely just like, oh, Lord!
Yeah, it's just the face opens up, and then, like, the tentacles start coming out of them.
Like,
it's
here's
just
the thing, the tentacles didn't bother me as much, but just, like, when that face just, like...
Yeah, it's just, oh man. And then like those monster sounds that comes out of it, just like, oh man, just it's like if you could make a voice out of like chalk on a chalkboard, just like, you know, it's just the sound is just so screeching to me. And so we get the very first transformation scene, and then everybody hears the noise, like, what's going on, right? They go in, they open the cage up, and you see the monster.
And it's just like, oh, sweet Mary Mother of God.
Yeah, it's so,
and here's the thing, you gotta respect, like, they try shooting it, and they try a bunch of other things, but then they lock it in. But then they do the thing I always say you do. When you see something strange, kill it with fire.
Yeah, it's just like Mac orders the character, Giles to get one of the flamethrowers, and I'm just like, okay, what research team on the Arctic has flamethrowers?
Well, I could be mistaken, but it would actually be a useful thing to have on there, because if like they have a flash freeze and like something outside freezes, a flamethrower used properly can melt the ice fast enough so it won't refreeze, and if it's at a controlled temperature, it won't damage the metal used to form the base.
Okay, that's a fair point. So Giles comes in with the flamethrower, like Mac's like, Giles, torch it, and he just torches the whole thing.
Like I said, kill it with fire.
Yeah, kill it with fire. Burn, baby, burn.
No, okay, it was fine until you said that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because this is an action flick. It's like, burn, baby, burn. This is more like horror. It's like, burn it, burn it, burn it.
Yeah, it's just burn it. And so after this whole part, they drag the burnt corpse back, and they do an autopsy on it. And that's when the doctor realizes that
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing as the other corpse. So that's when he connects the dots that this thing is a living organism that can like, you know, copy any other cell and become a full living thing.
And then if I'm not mistaken, like, I could be, but this is right at the point when the blizzard heat starts intensifying, so they can't leave and abandon the base. So they're now stuck here.
Yeah, exactly. Like a storm rolls in.
Right when they figure it out, like, she's like, okay, we got to get out of here. It's
and
just
now
like,
they can't.
Nope, you're stuck here.
Yeah, and then so the storm hits them, so now they have nowhere else to go, and one of the doctors, played by Wilford Brimley, is at a computer, and it's showing data if the thing ever gets into a place like New York, for example.
Oh God, like that is literal worst case scenario.
It says that the entire society collapse would happen 27,000 hours from first contact.
like I get a feeling that John Carpenter just made that up as a number, but it's still just like, yeah, if this got into populated areas, like when they can't control, like this, I believe it's like what, 10, 12 people at the research base?
Yeah, I would say at least 12. Yeah.
Yeah, so 12 people versus like a city of 8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that is literally a worst case scenario.
So whatever happens, they can't allow this thing to leave the base. They have to do by any means necessary. It cannot be found by their rescue team.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and the best thing this film does is that you don't follow any one character for too long. So you never know for certain who is it. Like there was the whole segment when the guys think McCready is the thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the way the film set up, it could have been.
It could have been, yeah. So a backstory for you. So they end up getting stranded at the base because Wilford Brimley's character, once he sees that data on the computer, he knows what he has to do. So he destroys all the moving vehicles, he destroys the helicopters, and destroys the radio room. So now they're completely cut off, and they have to wait until spring for the rescue team to come get them.
Well, it's not it's not the rescue team. It's the next team that would take over at the base to relieve them.
Oh yeah. So they have to wait for that next team to show up. So until that happens, they're completely on their own. And then that's when they start coming out with the ideas of like, don't go alone, stay in groups. So they have to start getting all these plans together. Then McCready decides to take up command of the other guys.
Yeah, just because like I'd have to rewatch the film because like we haven't watched it since then. Like I can't remember exact plot details and whatnot, like every story beat off the top of my head.
Yeah, but and then I think right before he decides to take command, we have the first guy out of the team, the one that got shot, was taken over by the thing, and everybody chases him outside. He didn't have enough time to transform, so you just see like the
his hands are still forming, and then it doesn't have a voice yet.
Yeah.
So then that's when they realize it can copy us too.
Yeah, and that's when they realized like, okay, we can't let this thing get anywhere near us at any point whatsoever.
And then like the perfect how they start the initial red herring with the guy who is the caretaker for the dogs.
Yeah.
Like he is instantly first of the threat list.
Yeah, because Wilford Brimley's character, when he went insane, they locked him in the tool shed, and he tells McCready, like, watch Clark.
Yeah.
Watch him closely, you hear me? And so later on in the film, McCready and another character, the one who was on the roller skates, right? Who was playing the jukebox, right? The radio in the kitchen. I can't remember which one it is. It's been a minute.
Which character? Sorry, I was looking at my phone.
I gotta see if I can find it. There's so many characters in this. Let me see if I can find them. Let's see. It's the character. Let's see here. I don't know. Like, he's in most of the movie, like up until the end.
Is he the other black guy, Nollis?
Yes.
Yeah, Nollis.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And him and McCready go check out his room because the lights are still on. But then he comes back without McCready, so everybody's like, "What happened?" He's like, "I cut him loose because he found a piece of torn clothing out with his name on it."
Yeah.
So they're trying to throw us off. Be like, "Wait, was he a thing the entire time?"
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's just the thing. You don't spend too much. Like, if we spent the entire film only with McCready, like, then it's just like you have a perfect safe now. It's just like, okay, I at least know for certain McCready isn't the thing. But then with this, that instantly throws that out, and now the viewer is back on it. Just like, wait, can we not even trust the main character?
Yeah, and by this point, we've lost 3 other crew members. Like, the first one was transformed, and they burned him with gasoline, and then we had another assistant doctor who was taken over.
And was it at this point when Clark died, or did they do it when they were testing the blood when we lost Clark?
Not yet. We haven't lost Clark yet. So we're at the point now where McCready literally breaks in through the window. And here's one of my favorite scenes where Giles and the others are axing the door down, and because McCready locked himself in the room, he grabs a stick of dynamite, lights a flare. Anybody messes with me, the whole camp goes.
Well, I'm just like, that's a good way just to tell everyone, just like, hey, don't even try this, or I'm just gonna blow us all up.
Yeah, like he's right next to the other dynamite. It's like, if I drop this, we're gone, all of us.
Yeah.
So like,
it makes me, honestly, that scene just makes me think of in National Treasure when they're in the they're in the Charlotte ship at the beginning of the film, and it's just like, all the gunpowder's like, shoot me, I drop this, we all go up.
yeah, literally, just like that's.
I would not be surprised if National Treasure stole that from the thing.
Yeah, literally. Like, dude, McCready, he's so smart throughout this whole thing. Like, he gets it. Like
he understands exactly what the stakes are and how, like, he has to take control, and he has to figure out who the thing is, and not just trying to be like, okay, let's do a vote. Who do we think is the thing? He's just like, no, we're going to do a solid test. Then after a few more characters die, we get to the point where they run the test.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good place to pick up.
And yes, so right before the test, right, we get possibly one of the craziest scenes in the movie where one of the characters has a heart attack and the doctor is trying to bring him back with electric shock.
Just like, clear! Then it opens his chest up and just bites his arms off.
He just falls on the ground, and the dude's chest opens and the thing comes jumping out of it and attaches itself to the ceiling. Dude, the puppeteer work.
Oh god,
for that whole scene.
Like I said, this is like stuff like that is why I love classic 80s and 90s horror flicks. Is just because they were all practical.
So the actor's reaction, they're not staring at a green screen or some guy in a green suit. They're seeing the real thing, they're seeing real reactions.
Like, they're just seeing the strengths, like them messing around with it, but I'm just like, they're genuinely looking at something. They're not they're not like pretending to look at something. They are looking at it.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like the puppeteer work in this whole sequence. You can find this scene on YouTube on a YouTube channel where it's just movie clips, and this scene really stuck out to me. Dude, it gets even freakier. Like when McCready burns it, like the head falls off and it turns into like a spider. Like, dude, can you imagine turning around and seeing that?
Just seeing a head with spider legs following you. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I ain't running. I'm gonna just stop dead in my tracks and just go, oh, that's something you don't see every day, and then die.
Yeah. Oh, it's so freaky. The animation is insane. And I love that one crew member's reaction, the one who was smoking weed all the time.
Oh, God.
Like, you gotta be beeping kidding.
Like, well, it's just like, how else are you gonna deal with that? Oh, there's this killer monster that's out to kill you. Just like, I'm just gonna get freaking high and drunk.
Yeah, just,
like, yeah, if I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna do it sober.
Yeah, it's so funny. And McCready torches the spider thing too, and now we cut to the blood test scene, and so McCready forces all of them to tie all themselves up. And what Clark does in this scene was so dumb. He grabs a knife when McCready wasn't looking, literally swings toward him. McCready shoots him right in the head, right there. It's like, Clark, you are nowhere near him.
And also,
what were you thinking?
And also, just look,
he has a gun.
And also, he's coming up with a way to test who the thing is.
Like this is the best course of action. I like how all the guys are telling him like what he's doing is stupid. This doesn't prove a darn thing. It's like, do you have any other better ideas?
And then because he's put two and two together based on what's been most effective against both what they've seen and what they saw at the Norwegian camp. Just like, our best bet is to burn it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we can't use guns. Guns aren't doing jack to this thing. We have to use fire, and we have to find ways to lure it out. Like, what better way? It can't control singular blood samples, so it's just like, it's going to defend itself. And he literally, like, McCready literally gives a monologue. It's like, one of you things is going to react differently to human blood. If I hurt you in some way, you're going to react whether you want to or not. So
yeah, because when it's separate from its body, it's completely instinct. It doesn't have full control.
Exactly. It's like, that is a smart move. And I love how, so another fun fact for you, when they were filming this, they never told the actors who is the Thing during some scenes. They did not know.
I did not know that, and that is actually a really, really good idea for filming, because then it's genuinely a surprise, as it really gives a sense of tension between the actors, as it's just like they're playing a scene and they genuinely don't know who's the Thing. Because I'm just like, when the mystery is revealed, there's always going to be an element of acting that's missing. Like, take even like, even though I'm not the biggest Marvel guy anymore, with Avengers, like, none of the cast knew the whole series of events that was going to play out. The only one who knew was Benedict Cumberbatch, and it was because his character just like, Doctor Strange is the one who knows what's going to happen, so I should know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and that's a very good way to do that. Mm-hmm. And so we get to the scene now where McCready's doing the blood test, and everybody's turning out clean, right? He's getting ready to test Gary, but right before Gary is the main dude who shot the Norwegian at the beginning of the movie, I believe.
No, that was, so it was right before Gary. So it was that Palmer?
Palmer is the one smoking weed.
Okay,
that's Palmer.
Palmer's weed. Clark is dead,
and it's the guy who had the white, the white eyebrows with the blonde hair.
Windows.
I think so. Here, we'll continue talking. I'll take a look. Oh, wait a minute! I found him. Gary, Donald. Moffat.
Yeah, well, I thought Gary was next, because Gary lasts until just about the very end.
Yeah, exactly. So he's getting ready to test Gary, and right before Gary, it's Palmer.
I knew it was Palmer.
Yeah, so Palmer turns out to be the Thing hiding. And dude, his transformation scene. Oh, like, God, that he throws himself on the ceiling.
Oh God, that was definitely the creepiest one of them all.
Oh, dude, like his face, just like it's like a toxic reaction. You see all the bubbles on his face, just like, oh, dude. I'm telling you right now, when the Thing starts breaking away from the body it absorbed, it is some of the nastiest things I've ever seen. Like I said, the animation for this beats anything that's come out in the last, 20 years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's something about real-life animatronic work that just really does the trick.
Yeah, here's the thing. Honestly, even a bit of, with the first Terminator film, when Arnie's character has, his robotic eye revealed, you can clearly tell it's an animatronic, but it's just look, they couldn't really do makeup, and visual and CGI wasn't that advanced, that it would honestly have looked worse.
Yeah.
So then they had to make a full animatronic, and honestly, it could have been worse. For God's sakes, the baby they were going to use for the part 2 of Breaking Dawn was even more horrifying than that thing with Arnie.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, everyone knows about the horrific CGI baby from Twilight.
Oh no!
The original thing was an animatronic. Let me look it up, and I'm just keep the conversation going, just so we don't have dead air.
Oh no, we're fine. So yeah, like I said, my finishing remarks on animatronic work. Just like I said, when you're using practical effects and real animatronic work, it makes such a huge difference. You get the most genuine reactions. It's kind of like in the first Alien, where the alien is wearing a full suit.
This,
dude. That is horrifying. What is that?
I'm honestly just who designed this?
Yeah, why would they use a CG baby? Are you telling me nobody was oh, here, you can borrow my daughter for a quick couple of scenes or something?
Well, here's the thing, that the reason why they needed the CGI is just because the whole thing is that the baby's aging rapidly. So I'm just okay, we need 20 different babies.
Yeah, but dude, that thing looks horrifying.
Yeah, so I'm just going to try my best to describe this. The eyes are wider than God. It's somehow already has a double chin, top chin just goes out almost a full inch, and is immediately born with a full long head of hair. It looks worse than the Chucky doll.
Oh, how is that even possible? You somehow made a CG baby scarier than Chucky.
No, this isn't CG. This is an animatronic.
Oh, really? I thought that was CG.
No, that is an animatronic they made.
Oh my gosh! Like, did you not have like a picture to look off of to make sure it looked right? You know, like
Yeah, no. So if you guys want to understand what we're talking about, look up Twilight animatronic baby, and then have some bleach standing by to wash out your eyes.
Yeah, I second that 100%. So to get back on track, so now we're nearing the last, like I would say, 20 to 30 minutes left of this movie, and we're down to 5 characters left, and McCready, Gary, and
It's Knowles. So it's McCready, Childs, Knowles, Gary, and Brimley are the last 5 remaining.
Yeah, they go. So Brimley's nowhere to be found. They go back. They go to the shack to give him the test, and that was when he disappears.
Yep, and they realize, okay, he is most definitely involved or something.
And then they find boards loose in the shack, and they crawl underneath. He dug a little cave area underneath it.
Like, this definitely gets to the point, just like one of my biggest problems with this film comes out, it's just like how much time has passed. Because I was like, or was this always under that he dug out that hole and just had that whole situation of tunnels underneath him? So I'm just like, that is definitely one of the points where I can get like why there are some problems with this film. Seems like if he did it over the whole time, how long was he kept out there?
Yeah, that is a very good question. And like they find a small ship almost finished and ready to go that he built from pieces of the helicopter and other machines. So you're just like, how long was he inside that shed?
So like
you know
this
what I mean?
this
Like,
leads you to believe that like several weeks have gone by.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, then you wonder just like, why did the thing take so long to kill him? Because I'm just like, if it was that long, why didn't it just kill everyone off quickly? Then it could have done it undisturbed.
yeah, that is true. But anyway, I feel like it's kind of like just nitpicking territory. At
Yeah,
that point,
like
you
that,
know,
like it is a bit of nitpicky, but like I said, compared to the rest of the film, that is just the one gaping flaw. But in a film, when you have only one flaw, compared to others which have many,
I have many. You're doing pretty well.
yeah.
So they leave Giles behind to guard the base, and they find Brimley's character is gone, and then the power goes out in the base. Now here's where things take a drastic turn because they all realize, like, okay,
There's no way we're getting out of here.
like the power's gone, the heating is gone, we're outside, and like in a few more hours it's gonna be like 50 below outside. So like so it's like, dude, the scene where the 3 of them realize that we're not making it out of here alive, like this is it.
Like
you know,
the only thing we can do is kill this thing and make sure no one finds it.
So they're literally a suicide squad. Literally at this point, it's just like they're gonna make sure before they kick the bucket, they're gonna make sure the thing is destroyed. So they just start blowing the entire camp up. Just, I love it. They're just going room to room, throwing bombs and Molotov cocktails in every room.
Yep. Then in the final basement, Brimley just comes out, just kills Gary, kills Knowles, and then just like.
Then it's just down to McCready. Dude, the way he killed Gary when his hand goes inside his
just
face,
like,
oh, dude, that was haunting.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no, it was nuts.
Yeah, very. And then Knowles was killed off screen. Like he went to go check something out and he never came back. So then now it's just McCready. And his final battle with the thing. I wouldn't really call it a battle.
It's more like he's just running away. Then it comes out, it exposes himself. He's just like he's done. Has the thing of diamond. Just like yeah. You too.
And then chugs. So you know what's funny is that whole bit. They didn't have a script ready for that part. So that whole thing was
Kurt Russell just going, yeah, you too.
Yeah, just beep you too. And what's funny is there are so many scenes throughout this film where he almost killed himself or injured himself due to the dynamite throws. Like apparently, like for example, back at the blood test scene where Palmer's character.
Wait, is this the character or did Kurt Russell several times nearly blow himself up with a stick of dynamite?
Kirk Russell.
Okay, then I just have one thing. Who in their right mind gave Kurt Russell a real stick of dynamite?
Well, like the scene where Palmer gets killed, where Palmer is the thing, and he kills the one guy with the super thick black hair who was the radio operator. the Palmer's thing busts through the wall, starts walking outside wall on fire. That's when McCready walks through the hole in the wall and he throws dynamite and blows it up. If you pay attention, debris missed Kirk Russell by like mere inches from his head.
Yeah.
And I was watching John Carpenter and Kirk Russell's commentary track they did in the late 90s for the re-release of the movie. And Kirk talks about during that scene, like he almost like got hurt very bad, but like debris missed him by inches. And another scene was at the end, right, when he throws the dynamite going, and beep you too. Like he didn't throw it far enough, so he had to like hightail it. Like that's not acting; that's him legitimately running for the hills. You know, like
then you just gotta think, like. Gotta admit, the people who made films in that time had stones to just give. Hey, so in this scene, your character throws a stick of dynamite. Here's a stick of dynamite. Light it on fire. Throw. Run.
Yeah, I just like that is just so funny to me. Like, that's so awesome. So the entire base gets destroyed, and we're led to believe that McCready is the last one standing. He just sits down. He has one. Like
they got one bottle of booze left.
And then Giles just walks in out of nowhere.
Child.
Oh,
yeah,
Childs.
No, yeah, it's C.H. Childs.
Yeah, he walks in the frame, and he's like, "Are you the only one who made it?" And he explains that he thought he saw Brimley's character, so he ran out after him, and he got lost in the storm.
Yeah, and the film does a little subtle thing just to make you think, that leaves you just a slight bit of unease. Is this really Childs?
Yeah, exactly. And
we'll have a little spoiler for you then. It was really Childs.
Yeah, like Carpenter. I mean, he's kind of confirmed, I guess, at this point.
I believe
they're both human.
I believe they kind of mentioned that the one thing it can't reproduce is metal.
And he has earrings on.
Yep,
if you pay attention.
Yep. So either that was that was a mistake on actor Keith David's part, or it was just those small little hint that Carpenter gave that just like he knew the answer. That's just like, yes, this is really Childs and McCready, and they're now just gonna they're done fighting and they'll sit there like, let's just sit for a little bit
and see what happens, and. Because at this point, they're both extremely tired. The hypothermia is pretty much kicking in at this point.
Probably at this point, they don't really have hypothermia because there's fire all around them. They're going to be a little toasty for a while.
Yeah, for a little bit, yeah.
Then once the fire goes out, then they'll freeze.
Yeah.
Then they'll die.
And that was another reason why people did not like this movie, because back in the 80s, almost every, scary movie or action movie that came out, the main, character would come out victorious. The hero is supposed to win.
Yeah, they would at least survive. So I'm just like, look, technically they did win because they stopped the thing from getting to the mainland, and they prevented a worldwide catastrophe. But they just don't survive to see their victory play out. Because in real life, it's there's always going to be a cause for something you do. It's it's established right before this that they weren't going to make it out. Dude, for example, when Titanic sank, massive detour here, but the maintenance crew for Titanic, all 13 of them were killed during the sinking. They all stayed at their post the entire sinking. And they kept shoveling coal. They kept the power running. They all went down with the ship. They were the reason those 705 people got off the boat. Oh, yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
They all stayed at their posts knowing they were going to die. Same thing with this. It's they knew they were going to die, but hey, if we're going out, we're taking the thing.
Oh, no, here's the thing I'll always say. The best story of a survivor from the Titanic is the story of the chef. Because this man, so he had the most intelligent plan. For one, the whole portion while the Titanic was sinking, he wasn't panicking. He was throwing furniture overboard to make sure people who couldn't get in the life rafts or people who fell off had something to keep them above water. And B, he was getting hammered.
He went to the wine cellar and chugged away on.
Like, well, it wasn't just chugging, just like the whole time he's doing, just like he fills up his flask, he's just drinking. He's not just like doing sips like what you do with flask. He is chugging, just getting so much booze in him. He is getting bloated. And then he was the last one to enter the water when the Titanic completely sinks, and he survives because the alcohol in his blood kept him warm.
And he was in the water for hours, and I even watched the video once. Like, best case scenario, you're in the water with a life jacket. You got 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, like I remember
before your arms numb.
Oh god, like I remember the Mythbusters. Like they went on a full thing of just like whether or not like Jack and Rose could have survived and whatnot. And they just did the thing where like Jack was only in the water, and their exact reaction when they were just like, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of theories regarding that, but I'm just like...
Oh, no, well, here's the thing. If we want to do the final thing, Mythbusters proved it could have been possible for Jack and Rose to have both survived, but they had to do something that they didn't do in the film. Mm-hmm. So, like, with Rose being on it and Jack trying to get on the door, on the piece of wood, too, the buoyancy wouldn't have worked. But a simple thing they could have done to give it the buoyancy they needed is if Rose took off her life jacket, they strapped it on under the wood, then Jack could have gotten on.
Yeah, but it's like in that moment, you're not thinking about that.
Yeah, like you're not thinking logically, because like the Mythbusters then came up with it, like because when they were testing this theory, like they were in warm water themselves, so like they were in no danger and whatnot. They didn't just have people try to kill them and the trauma of a ship sinking on them.
Right.
So yeah, like they didn't say it's 100% busted. They could have survived. They said it was plausible.
Yeah, and I'm just like, to bring this home, it's like, see, Giles and McCready, these guys get boozed up. And it's just like, another fun fact, McCready's house is actually still intact. If you pay attention to the explosions, his
tower is still intact.
His cabin is still intact. So I'm like, just go back there, get the wine bottles and whatever booze he was drinking, and just get juiced up.
Like, yeah, if I'm gonna die, I ain't doing it sober.
Yeah, exactly. See, they can just do that. You know what's even more hilarious? There's actually a comic book series that continues the story.
And doesn't it end with to confirm that both Childs and McCready survived?
Yeah,
when they got home?
Yeah, like what they did was they walked on foot and they managed to find a nearby base and they were rescued. And so They do survive in the comic books.
But I personally I like it better when it's just like it's left morally, when it's just left just like maybe they survive, maybe they don't.
Yeah, exactly. I love they're just sitting there accepting their fate, drinking away. No like lasting remarks, you know. Then it just ends.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, like it's just like what happened to them after. We don't know.
Like,
it's that's a pure speculation.
Good thing with really good movies is just like when they leave it open to have some debates as to how the film ends. Like you could like. I'm not saying all film needs to just be like, don't give a clear ending, leave questions at the end. But a film like this, it's I think a nice little thing. Just like leave it right there. Just like maybe they survive, maybe they don't.
Exactly.
But all we know is they stopped it.
Yeah, and I just, oh man, this is like, the ending to it just gives me chills every single time. I love this movie. And I'm telling you right now, man, if I ever get a chance to meet John Carpenter, I'm going to tell him, like, listen, man, thank you so much for giving us this movie.
And yes, and if I come big in Hollywood and you're still alive, I will hire you and we will make a Dead Space live action film.
I'll be the first, like, I'll be some random victim that gets killed at the beginning.
I will happily star, like, I don't like being on camera, but if it was a sacrifice to get John Carpenter to make a Dead Space movie, I'd be like, I'll star in it and I will die in it.
Yeah, I'll die in it too. I'll be part of the carnage of
we'll be part of the initial carnage when everyone dies.
Yeah, we'll just be random extras in the background that just get absolutely destroyed.
Here's the question. If there is a live action, who do you want to play Isaac Clarke?
Oh my gosh, it's just Isaac Clarke. I don't know, man. It's just like so like
honestly for me, I think it could go to Ryan Gosling. Not Ryan Gosling, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal? Maybe like, I could kind of see it.
Like honestly, if he all he would have to do is just trim his hair down really short and trim up his beard to be nice and close, then he'd have then he has a pretty close resemblance to Isaac.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
Yeah, like so someone would have to convince him just like, okay, Jake, you want to do this? Gotta cut your hair, boy.
Yeah, you gotta cut the hair. You can't have that long hair from
You can't
your other movies.
have that majestic hair.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I think that wraps up our review of John Carpenter's The Thing on its 40th anniversary year. I feel like he was destined to make this remake. It's a little fun fact for you. And his first big hit, Halloween in 1978.
Have you seen the remake yet for The Thing?
No, it's not a remake. You mean the 2011 movie?
Yeah.
That's a prequel.
Oh, it's a prequel, so it's what happened at the Norwegian
Yes.
base?
Yeah. So
have you seen it?
I haven't, and all the way through. But I remember that's the one that introduces the thing of it can't reproduce, like if you have a golden tooth or earrings or something.
Oh yeah, so then they do confirm that child's is alive. Then I think it would actually be fun since John Carpenter directed that too. We should watch it.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, context for you. So there is a movie called The Thing from 2011, and I wish they'd given it a different name because unfortunately most people thought it was a remake, but it's not.
It turned out to be the prequel, so we find out everything that happened at the Norwegian base.
And I heard the attention to detail in this movie was insane. Like the people who made this, they rewatched The Thing, right, and they studied it frame by frame of the Norwegian base, and they remade the set almost identical to the 82 film. Like they worked their hearts out to make sure that this thing fit the theme of the original.
So I think just for that sake, we should watch that, and then before Halloween's up and we're done with the scary movies, we talk about that one too.
Yeah, I feel like that one deserves a lot of recognition too, because I heard it's really good. It introduces a lot of new things, and we'll have to see. Maybe we'll do a review of that. That might be a good idea for one. So, yeah, you can find that movie. Came out in 2011. Let's see if we can get that a watch sometime soon. And so, yeah, like I said, if I've ever met John Carpenter, I'll be like, listen, man, thank you for giving us this movie. And when I was trying to tell a story earlier, we're like, in his original movie, Halloween, there's this awesome scene where one of his characters, Lindsay, is watching the 50s adaptation called The Thing from the 50s, and it's playing on the TV, and John Carpenter used the same opening text for his version as well. And what's funny is this movie is based off is a remake of the 50s movie, but the 50s movie is an adaptation of the book called A Thing from Another World. So there's a little history for you. It's based off a book. So yeah, the thing it's become a huge popular icon in pop culture, and this movie I think is just going to continue to get all kinds of recognition. This movie, in my opinion, is like one of the closest films to what I would consider a masterpiece, and I love this movie. And like Aiden, you got any more like closing remarks on this thing?
This is 100% one of my favorite horror movies. And I just love the fact that we finally got a chance to review it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I knew when I was picking out movies for October, I knew I had to review this.
Oh yeah.
So this was a must go. And just to give you an idea, some more movies are going to be on the way, coming out very soon. I will be reviewing other films such as Dr. Sleep, Christine, and Lost Boys, just to name a couple of next films I will be reviewing. So I'm very excited for those, and hopefully those will be out by next week. And another awesome quick announcement I want to make is that my podcast is now on Spotify. You can find all 15 current episodes on there. I've just started season 2, and I'm already halfway through. Each of my seasons will be 10 episodes, and my goal is to get to 50 episodes by May of next year for a total of 5 seasons. So I'm going to see if I can reach that goal. I think I can do it, so we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, this is the end of Tales of Music and Film, the review of The Thing. I want to thank my amazing friend Aiden for being on yet again.
Amazing.
Yeah, Aiden is an amazing friend of mine. I love inviting him on to talk about movies. It's just a grand old time. I love doing this. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see all you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
This is DJ Apollo and
Aiden Grady
here on the Tales of Music and Film.